the read. We're going to play a little clip from that interview. You should go watch it. It's on the CBS Sports YouTube page. We'll put a link to that interview in the description of the interview with Aditi. And then we're going to talk to Aditi about it. But first, it is time to fuel up and turn it into a 5-hour energy transfusion fueled show. 5-hour energy transfusion brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. And let's be honest, some days on the golf course or even off it, you just need that extra boost to stay sharp and energized. Golf is all about the good times with good people and good flavors, of course, with the grape, ginger, lime flavor. It gives you the best parts of your clubhouse to go without chasing down the beverage cart. If you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that is the number 5, hourenergy.com, you can use promo code LOCKEDONGOLF to receive 20% off your first order. The promo is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. Whether you're meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion-flavored 5-hour energy shots today. We're going to bring in Aditi in 1 second, but first, this is a little 90-second clip from her sit-down portion of the interview with Joe Flacco. Here it is.
My career has not gone how I want it to go the last 5 years. I still feel like I do have a lot to bring, and I'm still doing this because I want to do that. I want to bring a lot to a football team. I want to win football games. I want to do all those things. And I don't necessarily care about proving it, but there's a little bit of that in there, sure. I want to prove it, that I can still do it. And it's very important to me. And like I said, I don't want to be a backup. I haven't wanted to do that for the last 4 or 5 years or however long it's been. I want to play football. That's what I want to do. Being the backup is something that I've had to do to get to this point where I actually have a chance to play. If I wasn't willing to be the backup and then sign with Cleveland, I never would have experienced that. So I am thankful for some of those teams giving me the opportunity along the way to just be the backup, because it kept me going to give me opportunities to really play football. I don't want to sit on the bench. I don't want to sit back there and watch other people play and stress about getting in there in a couple plays or not. I want to go play. So I think my mindset when I take the field is not necessarily go prove yourself. It's just do what you do. I still have a lot to prove, I feel like. I want to play football. I feel like I can. I'm excited for the opportunity to do it.
It is so amazing to me. Sorry, hi, Aditi. I was just going to say, John Harbaugh has rubbed off on him so much. There's so much, the way he talks, it is, because I played with Harbaugh for 2 years, or a year and a half, when I was in Philly, and it's like, he sounds kind of like Harbaugh a little bit there. I love his attitude, and I'm happy that he's here, and frankly, he's our only chance to win games this year.
Maybe we shouldn't play him. Aditi,
they were definitely sitting.
You see that Harbaugh? You see that too, the way he talks?
It's funny. I made that face because I actually don't think so at all. I think Joe is authentically Joe. He sounds so South Jersey to me. It's unbelievable.
Wasn't how he talks.
Sitting,
it's not his accent.
I'm sitting on 3 towels. Just so you know, they have bar stools at their kitchen counter that are actually not super high. Joe said it's like the best thing in the house. This is a new house that they just built. They're sort of lower bar stools. And I had to his wife got me 3 towels to sit on just so I didn't look like a 4-year-old sitting at that kitchen counter.
What was the food?
I am sitting.
What was the food? It looked good. Did you eat it?
We ordered I got a beet burger. I just saw it on the menu and I was like, what's a beet burger? And it was delicious. It was a local place that Joe recommended. The kids had chicken fingers and French fries. I think he had that too. He might have had a burger. I'm not sure. I can't remember the name right now. But if you give me a minute, I'll look it up and I'll find it.
Wait a second. You ate a burger?
We had good food.
It
was a beet burger. It was made of beets. Beets and veggies and who else knows what else is in it. But it was really good.
That sounds awful.
Can you see it? It's there. What?
Yeah, it does sound awful.
Oh my! I mean, it's smart,
it's so good.
And that's why you're in good shape and I'm in terrible shape, Aditi. But it sounds awful.
If you watch the whole thing, Joe makes fun of me. He's like, "Here's Aditi's beet burger, but I did tell him it was surprisingly good. I offered him a piece of it too if he wanted.
I thought,
think, but I think the point here, I think what's so interesting here, right, is that Kevin Stefanski didn't give him many reps in the spring. And the argument was, well, let's see what we have in Kenny Pickett, and we certainly want to see what we have in these rookies. It's the way that training camp sort of started, but then Flacco was promised that he was going to get a shot to get some reps. Kenny Pickett gets hurt with his grade 2-3 hamstring strain. We'll see how long that keeps him out. I believe that he's doing a little bit better than expected, but I know that they're not going to let him rush himself back. So what does Joe do with this? With increased reps, with increased opportunity? What does Dylan Gabriel do with perhaps a few reps? But I will say this, I've gotten to see Joe Flacco up close with both the Jets and the Colts. And I think in many ways he was a victim of circumstance. I think that the Colts would indeed have been better with him last year. I saw him come into a game, pressed into action against the Steelers. He led the Colts to victory there. I saw him drive the Colts back down in Jacksonville, even though they ultimately didn't win. He played very well. The next week, he engineered a really nice win against the Titans. But the Colts aren't going to give up on the number 4 overall pick. They're going to give Anthony Richardson every single opportunity. Prior to that, you go to the Jets. This is, of course, before that run with the Browns. And early in the season, Kyle Wilson was hurt. The Jets had Mike White or Joe Flacco, and Robert Saleh openly told us Joe Flacco gives us a much better chance. So they're playing Flacco. But once Wilson is healthy, again, a first-round pick. You're going to give him every opportunity to win. So it's not necessarily that Flacco couldn't play in those spots. And then we saw what he did in between the Colts and the Jets when he had this run with the Browns and how well he played up until you got to that playoff game in Houston. And so I don't think he's completely done. I don't think that he's totally washed up. And I think that he knows that too. He's pretty open in this that if he's not getting a chance, then he doesn't want to do this. And he asked himself that when he was with the Jets, when he wasn't playing, when the team wasn't winning, when it wasn't fun. He openly says, what am I doing? And so this isn't a guy that's going to hold on just to hold on. I think he's going to be pretty honest with himself when he feels he can't do it. Right now, he feels that he still can. He's clearly looking at the competition. One more thing. He's clearly looking at the competition in Berea right now. And he feels that he can beat out the other 3. Whether he can or not is one thing, but he clearly feels that he can. He's not someone who's deluding himself.
Aditi, if for whatever reason, just because they want to go younger or whatever the reason, doesn't matter. If the Browns end up cutting Flacco, do you think there's a chance he'll retire? I know he says he can still play, but if he can't win the starting job here and they cut him, and at least initially nobody's interested, do you think he might retire?
I think he'll still stay in shape and he'll see how the year plays out, right? And then if nobody calls, if no one calls, if there's not a playoff team that needs an arm later in the year, like the Browns did a few years ago, then I do think it's a possibility. You know, like he plays at I really would beg everybody, please go watch the whole video because his kids are just fantastic. It's such a great statement on Joe and his wife, Dana, how tremendous these 5 kids are. They've got a lot of spirit. They tease their dad, but they're so well behaved and polite as well. I had a great time with them. I really, truly had a great time with them.
They were killing him.
I mean, they were. The older 2 are. I don't know that the younger ones are just yet.
Yeah.
But, they're really funny about it. They're like, well, we have to rip him because dad brags a lot. Like, they don't rip their mom as much.
My kids are the same way.
They have to keep his head down. It's a really cute play. They're great kids. But on the one hand, we can joke that he wants to prove something to his kids because when he was really killing it on the field, they were obviously so young. 3 weren't even born. I think 4 weren't even born during that Super Bowl run, and the oldest was too young to appreciate it. Mm-hmm. They got to see it when the Browns were playing so well a few years ago. That was basically their only opportunity to see their dad doing what their dad does at the highest level. I think there's a piece of him that sure wants them to see it and appreciate it and experience it. But he also is very at ease. And I had this conversation actually with someone recently that Kenny Pickett knows that this is his chance. This is his moment, right? Whatever I have talked to all of you about, how much context there is to color those first 2 years in Pittsburgh, whatever that was, Kenny knows that this is his chance. The fear is that, does he put too much pressure on himself right now then? Is that moment, is the knowing, okay, this is it. If I don't do it right here, then it's not likely happening for me again. How does that weigh on him? How does he manage the emotional piece of that? And with Joe, I'm not worried about that at all. And we talk about that. And he openly says that he approaches practice completely different than when he was young and Ray Lewis and Terrell Suggs and Ed Reed were on the other side. And he kind of knows what coaching to really take in and what he can let go. He doesn't feel that same pressure that Kenny Pickett feels, and that the rookies maybe don't necessarily feel, that I've got to do this, and this is my one chance, and this is my one opportunity. Joe Flacco knows what he can do, and Joe Flacco knows that the football world has seen that, and that he has done that he has played at the highest level. So there, I would say, advantage Joe. He's not putting the same pressure on himself. He's got maybe a little bit more confidence than Kenny Pickett does. So does that impact the race, let's call it, the competition in any way? I don't know that the Browns cut Joe Flacco, though. Look at the way the start of that season runs out. And Jason, I know that you and I have had this conversation. Do you really throw a rookie in there? Because when you do and things are going bad, you're not going to yank the rookie out, because that's going to mess with him in every way. So would you prefer to have one of the two quarterbacks that has some NFL game experience as you face that murderer's row? And you know that offenses always start behind defenses when the season starts. I don't know. I know, Jason, that you're like, well, if it's going to be Dylan Gabriel, let's just see what Dylan Gabriel has. Maybe you do better by Dylan Gabriel, Jason, if you let him kind of get a little more acclimated, ease in a little bit. Maybe that's not a whole redshirt year based on how things go, but redshirt years aren't always so bad. Go ask Patrick Mahomes. Ask Aaron Rodgers.
I just think because of how much experience he has in college, he's not a normal – this isn't a guy who played 3 years, started 1 year, doesn't have a ton of experience. Because Dylan had 63 starts or whatever, I thought, well – it's not like he's got.
Okay, but the game is totally different. The game is
totally
different. Look, I was there last week with the Giants, and Jackson Dart, you use practice to try things. And Jackson Dart tries something that is always money in college, and he gets picked off. It goes for a pick six in a practice against the Giants. The NFL game is different. Just because you've got that many. Kenny Pickett had a whole lot of starts in college, too.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
Yeah, and he's
that's
not
necessarily
5'6" like Dylan Gabriel.
So pull out your crystal ball. Who wins the job?
Can you ask me Monday when I get to watch them up close?
Sure.
I think it's unfair. It's unfair, right, Dustin? Like, let me at least watch practice a little bit.
I think that's totally fair. I couldn't sit here today. I haven't been to practice yet, so I couldn't tell you how these guys look. I'm just going off of guys like Zach Jackson and Jason who've been there and watched these guys play in practice, and Mikey's been there. I will ask you this though, and I know no one knows Kenny Pickett better than you. I mean, you've seen him in college, you've seen him in Pittsburgh. Like, the injury here, grade 2 hamstring, which could be, I was talking to a doctor about this the other day. It could be a 4-week, could be 6 weeks, could be 3 weeks, who knows?
Kevin kind of hinted today like he could be back in a few days.
Well, then maybe it's not grade 2. So if it's a lesser grade, then that's good for him and his chances to get back here in practice. But the point is, if he's out for, let's say it's a few weeks, let's say it's a month, I don't know. I mean, can he still start? Can he still be the week 1 starter if he misses that much time here in camp?
I think that's probably really hard, Dustin, right? And it's not only about winning the job, it's about winning the confidence of your teammates.
Yeah.
It's your teammates wanting to feel strongly that you're the guy and that you're the one that came out on top. The one thing I will say, Dustin, when you give us a timeline, like 4 weeks or 6 weeks, that to me feels more like a wide receiver running back timeline. A quarterback doesn't necessarily need to move, although Kenny Pickett is indeed athletic,
that's his biggest strength,
has shown more athleticism. But to throw, he doesn't need to be fully, completely healed in that hamstring. They can protect a quarterback much better than they can a wide receiver or a running back in practice. So we can see him out there back more quickly than we would a running back or a wide receiver or a skill position player of any type. I've also been told that he's definitely feeling a bit better than was initially feared. But again, going back to the whole mental piece of this, I hope the Browns are smart enough to keep him from hurting himself. So what I mean by that is he is obviously going to try to get back onto the field as fast as he can, because he obviously does not want to lose ground in any way. So I hope the Browns can essentially restrain him a little bit and assure him, hey, if it is a week, you're not going to lose ground, but that week will put you in much better stead.
Well, and
I don't know. Don't be surprised. I don't think it's going to be 4 weeks. I don't think it's going to be 4 weeks.
Well, that's good news. I would say this, though. If they're going to protect him from himself, you can't put him in a game until he's literally 100%. Because in a game, you can't, like as a player,
right?
You just if you're in a pass rush, you're going to sprint as fast and hard as you can. In practice,
but here's the thing: we know that nobody projected to start is going to play in the second preseason game, because that follows those joint practices with the Eagles. I was just at the Eagles yesterday, and I was talking to Nick Sirianni, the Eagles coach, about this. The Browns-Eagles practices, twice, I think, in the last 3 years, they've had joint practices, have been very, very, very intense. And so those practices are essentially the game. If Kenny Pickett was in line to start, he wasn't going to play in that preseason game anyway.
What about those practices too? I mean, those practices. I did joint practices one time. They are more intense, frankly, than probably an exhibition game.
It's
game. Insane. Yeah.
Correct. But you're still protecting the quarterbacks. You're not going live. So in joint practices, it's not like Jalen Carter and that defensive front are getting to tee off completely on the Browns quarterbacks. So even though everybody else is maybe live in practice, the quarterbacks aren't.
Yeah, good point.
It's a good thing because, I mean, let's face it. The Browns have less talent on offense than any team in football. Isn't that fair to say?
They're one of the least talented teams. I don't know. You can say they're the worst.
They have no clear starting quarterback. They have no clear starting running back. They have one clear starting wide receiver. They have one clear starting tight end who's average. Their offensive line is old. Their one young offensive lineman just got carted off today, DeJuan Jones.
It was heat. He's okay.
It was just heat. He's okay. Good.
It was heat, yeah.
There's not a lot to hang your hat on right now when it comes to the Browns' offense. I mean, they drafted Quinshon Judkins to be their starting running back. We don't even know if he's going to play this year. They got no. I mean, it's bleak, Aditi, on the offense. No.
I'm struggling to disagree with you. I don't know if. I think it's hard to bank on young guys. It's hard to bank on someone making a major step like a Cedric Tillman or the MJ Emerson injury is another piece of bad news.
Yep.
But again, I would say there's time between now and week one. And I don't know that this roster is necessarily entirely where the week one 53 will be pulled for. So there's potentially opportunity to get some added juice in there. Again, I'd say, I'm coming out to practice on Monday. I'll obviously be at the first game. I'm curious to see if there's someone that is distinguishing themselves that perhaps we're not noticing just yet. These are the next few weeks where you have big opportunity. Mm-hmm. When you say it like that, Adam, though, it's not like we're sitting here and saying, okay, well, there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of players to be super excited about right now, but maybe that's it. Maybe it's the unknown. Maybe. And it was interesting. It was interesting when Jimmy Haslam sort of told everybody to dial it back and say, this isn't just a year waiting for Arch Manning, that his expectation is Arch Manning isn't even available next year. So interesting that he put it that way, that he said that. But I'll come back, I'll come back to the Joe Flacco thing. There are still guys that you want to root for. And I'd say, if you watch this and you get to know Joe a little bit more and you get to know his kids a little bit more, you can't help but pull for somebody like that. And it does make you feel good. There's no, okay, I'm going to hold my nose while I root for this person. Or there's no, well, I'm rooting for laundry, not necessarily a human being. This is definitely one of those, like, I feel good for rooting for both the laundry and the human being.
If you
and I
haven't
hope that
done,
matters to some people. I mean, I do hope that there are still some people out there that care about that piece of it.
I think so too. I think there are. If you haven't done so already, check out Aditi's sit down. Since it's 17 minutes sit down and 14 minutes. It's 17 and 14. I don't remember.
It was hot on that field, Adam. In real life,
yeah,
we were out there for an hour. We were all drenched in sweat.
Yeah.
I made a catch, but it's not like I played that great.
I thought you did all right. I thought your throw was solid. You made a nice catch. That was a pop-up. You had to hustle for that one.
He didn't let me bat. I will give you this one, though.
Yeah.
He wasn't batting, but he called a shot. We didn't include this. I was like, so are you going to hit? He's like, are you kidding me? If I hit, and there were these basketball hoops beyond the fence. So this is what was really cool. This is a Little League field that he grew up playing on.
Right.
And it was in the shadow of the high school that he went to. And then there's basketball courts right behind it. And he goes, come on, if I hit, I'm hitting one of those basketball hoops. And I was like, all right, well, let's see it. Let's see it. He took a couple swings and then he rocketed the ball, and it didn't go through the net, but it did basically hit the basketball hoop. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God. And those kids, not one of them was impressed.
No,
not even his daughter.
I saw that part. Aditi was very impressed. Even Joe wasn't impressed with himself.
I know.
He wasn't.
He was
the
like,
kids were not, but you were.
I was.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you call your shot and then you actually do it, you should feel proud of yourself, right?
I hear you, but he was not having it. He was not crediting himself at all.
Aditi, when you're here
another reason to root for him.
When you're here next week, you got to stop by the UCSS studios. It's been way too long since we've seen you in person.
I wish I could. I wish the timing of that could work out, Mikey, but we'll figure out. Steve is constantly on me about that. Hopefully there's a way to make that work at some point.
He told me to tell you. So, Steve, we can't both be asking Aditi. I thought I was doing your dirty work for you, but now Aditi's
I think, unfortunately, the timing of the show is the same as the timing of when Kevin Stefanski talks.
He didn't say anything anyway.
Yeah, it's true. He says nothing in all his press conferences. He talks in generic.
Well, maybe if I'm there's something else.
I hope so. Maybe you can get something out of him. The guy just says nothing. All right, Aditi, great job with the interview with Joe Flacco and his family. Everybody check it out if you haven't done so already on YouTube. Where else can you watch it? Twitch? Can you watch it on Twitch?
It's on CBS's YouTube page.
CBS's
so go to
YouTube
CBS's YouTube page,
go.
and then we have tons of video on CBS, Instagram, and TikTok, and they'll keep coming.
There you go.
Awesome job, Aditi.
We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Aditi.
Bye.
Bye.